Hi everyone. Today Victoria and I are going to talk about the gut-immune connection. Our gut bacteria is extremely important in how our immune system functions and how our body deals with invaders and deals with inflammation. So we're just going to talk through some of the ways that our microbiome or our gut health supports our immune system. Some of the bacteria that we can understand and focus on to strengthen our immune system, and really important foods that we can incorporate more or less, sometimes foods that we need to leave out, that can really help to strengthen our immune system, because I think everyone has realized over the last couple of years that our immune system is so important for our health. And our gut health really has such a strong impact on how our immune system functions. We also have an excellent article with more in-depth information on our website called the Gut Immune System Connection on Prana Thrive's website. We're just going to go through and explain some of the areas, some of the information in this article, but you can also read more in-depth information on our site if you would like to, and the link will be below the video here. Nearly 80% of our immune cells are actually found in our gut microbiome. In our digestive system. So particularly the area of our gut lining is extremely important as our first defense for our immune system. So whether it's fighting a cold or a flu, so that could be a viral infection or a bacterial infection, or even how our body responds to certain foods, our immune system will have a certain response. So, and then we have a few different ways that our immune system responds as well. We have what's called our non-specific or innate immune system, and that's like our general first line defense. And that's what helps to focus on keeping threats out of our body or dealing with those. We also have what's called a specific or adaptive immune system, and this focuses on a more complex targeted immune response when the more innate immune response has been unable to contain a threat. So that's usually when we have more long-standing underlying either viruses or bacteria or autoimmune conditions where our immune system is really working hard, in the more long term, and that creates more chronic health issues. So this part of the article is talking a little bit about the immune cells within the gut. And basically we have a gastrointestinal tract, or our gut lining, which is roughly at least 5 meters in length. So it's a really large space in our body where there are trillions of microbes that are part of our immune system that is an important part of our body's immune defense. So when we look at the different areas of our gut lining, there are basically epithelial cells. There's a mucin layer. So there are different bacteria that are really important in how our gut lining functions. Now, if we have inflammation of our gut lining, or what's called leaky gut, then we have a reduced response of our immune system. And this is something I do see in a lot of clients, that we're working on improving their gut health, but if they do have leaky gut, or they have a really low level of a bacteria called Akkermansia, so this bacteria here called Akkermansia is very important to help protect your gut lining. And so for people, when I do microbiome testing, or with Victoria, for anyone working with us personally and have done microbiome testing, Akkermansia is looked at in that test, and if you have a low, or some people actually have a 0 detected level of Akkermansia, that really does mean that you're much more easily prone to inflammation, but it really lowers your body's immune response. And I've definitely experienced that with some clients when we've been working to strengthen their immune system, and they've been doing really well generally on a day-to-day, and then they've ended up with a viral infection, and their body takes quite a while to either respond or to recover because of that very low level of Akkermansia. So it really just highlights that our gut lining is so important. And so there are different foods and different nutrients that we can focus on to support and feed our Akkermansia that will also strengthen our immune system. And then one of the other articles on our website is all about leaky gut and how you can improve your gut lining and foods you can feed. So I'm going to touch a little bit on that, but we do have a separate article that you can also read more. And this is something that myself and Victoria do talk about with a lot of the clients that we're working with personally. So I'm just going to go down a little bit here. And Victoria's going to just talk a little bit about some of the nutrients that our different bacteria produce and their importance in the immune system. So do you want to talk about your short-chain fatty acids?
So one of the main things that we talk about in the very initial stages of our consultations when the lab results back is your firmicutes to bacteroides ratio. So your firmicutes tend to be anti-inflammatory and your bacteroides tend to be a little bit pro-inflammatory. And one of the main reasons why the firmicutes are anti-inflammatory is because they tend to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which has a direct impact on the inflammation going on in your body, which has a direct impact to your immune response and your immunity in general. One of the really, really good ways to promote more butyrate or short-chain fatty acids is to promote the growth of those bacteria that produce it. So eating more fiber or prebiotic fiber-based foods is a really great way to encourage the short-chain fatty acids and reduce inflammation while supporting your immune system. Reducing sugar is another really good way to reduce this pro-inflammatory response and encourage the growth of the good bacteria versus the non-beneficial bacteria going on in your microbiome.
That's great. And as well as those important fiber foods that Victoria touched on, there are some really great prebiotic or resistant starch related supplements that you can add into your diet that are more concentrated. So something that I've definitely noticed either with the supplements that I prescribe specifically, but also a wide range of new brands and available microbiome or gut supporting supplements are using some of your resistant starches. So particularly something like green banana flour. Green banana flour is really high in resistant starch, and resistant starch is a food or a fuel for many different bacteria, particularly for bacteria that support your gut lining and your immune system. And that can be used in baking, so it's actually a really great gluten-free flour that you can combine with other gluten-free flours in foods that you can eat, but you can also buy it in combination with other nutrients and fibers in a powder form that you can simply add to a smoothie, for example. So there's some really great ways that we can introduce these extra nutrients that are going to feed our gut bacteria, and then our bacteria actually feed us. So it's a really great way to start looking at our diet in a slightly different way of how it's going to boost our immune system. There are so many different bacteria that are involved in our body's immune response. Akkermansia, we've obviously just talked about briefly. There is one of my absolute favorite bacteria is called Lactobacillus reuteri. And I think I do talk to nearly every client about this because many people, unfortunately, are missing or have low levels of this particular bacteria. But we have found the last couple of years with a lot of new ongoing research that the bacteria called Lactobacillus reuteri is really important for producing compounds that are antimicrobial. So antimicrobial means that it has an antibacterial, also an antiviral effect. This particular bacteria also works against candida yeast, against parasites. So it's a really great way of helping to reduce those non-beneficial, like Victoria talked about, non-beneficial microbes that can be impacting on our immune system and creating extra inflammation. And also then if we are in the state of an acute infection, so say we have a viral head cold, for example, or a fever, Lactobacillus reuteri is an excellent bacteria you can take additionally in a probiotic form that is going to have that strong antiviral effect. So I use that bacteria with clients if I'm wanting to address acute symptoms, but it's also a really great bacteria to focus on to help with recovery as well. Because some people do find that their symptoms are relieved within a few days, and some people find that they can be feeling quite unwell for even weeks, especially with some of the viruses that clients are experiencing at the moment. So Lactobacillus reuteri is excellent. So in a probiotic form, but you can also incorporate more probiotic rich foods into your diet as well. And they are usually in the form of different fermented foods. So whether it's a really good quality yogurt or coconut yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, so all those different fermented foods that really do help to support those different beneficial bacteria as well. Another really important group of bacteria is called Bifidobacterium, and there is a particular species called Bifidolongum. And Bifidolongum has been really well researched around improving digestive pathways, supporting liver function, but a lot of new research in now understanding how important that bacteria is for our immune system. So one of the ways that Bifidolongum actually supports our immune system is that it helps to inhibit an enzyme that actually reduces our body's immune response. So there are certain compounds, nutrients, cells that are all involved in our body's immune response. And so by increasing those really important Bifidobacteria longum, we can actually help to really strengthen our body's immune response, particularly around viruses. There is a lot of new research looking at the Bifido group, but particularly Bifidolongum, to help either treat when we have a viral infection, but also to help recover and help prevent from getting really unwell from a virus as well. So we can take certain probiotics that contain these different Bifidobacteria. That is definitely something I really focus on when I'm talking with clients and prescribing some specific probiotics. There are a huge number of different probiotics and different brands. There's a huge difference in their effectiveness of which ones will actually be supportive. It often does depend on different health issues and what we're looking to address. If we've done microbiome testing, which is something Victoria and I do with clients, that's a really great way to know if you have these important bacteria or you do need more of them. But basically the different, if I'm looking at Bifidobacteria, I really focus on certain brands that have made formulations that contain a lot of different Bifidobacterium species, and I tend to get the best results with clients with those, whereas there are a lot of probiotics on the market that maybe only have one or two bacteria and they're a little bit more focused on some of the more general lactobacillus. And they can be helpful too, but most people do need a lot of extra Bifidobacteria. And then, as Victoria mentioned before, there are certain foods. Did you want to just mention just a little bit about a few fibers that really help to feed Bifidolongum or the Bifidobacteria, Victoria?
Yeah, totally. I think omega-3s is a really good Bifido supporting food group, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I think walnuts, and specifically, I read some really good research around walnuts increasing bacteria populations. But otherwise, your fibers and resistant starch, like we talked about, green banana flour, cassava flour was another one, or sweet potatoes.
Yeah, the good old sweet potato.
Sweet potato,
Yeah.
cooked white rice and white potato as well. But anything that's quite fibrous, and I think Amanda also mentioned there's some great supplements that have different prebiotic fibers in them as well, a lot of which Amanda recommends most of them. So there's lots of different foods. Vegetables are always a winner.
Yes, definitely. Vegetables and high omega-3 foods.
Yes.
So, excellent. So, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of extra explanation around how our gut health, but particularly our microbiome, is really important for supporting our immune system. Some of the things that you can do at home to help strengthen your immune system. If you do want to read more, we have a full article on our website, but also links to all those different bacteria that we talked about, Akkermansia, Lactobacillus reuteri, Bifidolongum, There are individual articles on our Prana Thrive website that goes into more detail about those bacteria as well. So excellent. Thank you so much for listening. We'll have some other great videos coming soon.